So during this last month, I had to make a pretty big decision, and that was about letting a client go. This wasn't just a client who we did one website for or even a couple over the years. This is a client that was a partner that we did a lot of white label work for this agency, and they were a very important client. And so today I'm kind of talking about when it's time to let go. This particular client I started working with over 10 years ago, and it was great. I got to know the particular team, and we had a great understanding. And for about 5, 6 years there, it was awesome. We had this strong synergy. We kind of understood how each other worked. During that kind of time frame, we developed a true partnership in the sense that we knew what to expect from the other person. So I knew they were going to give me approved designs, they were going to give me feature documents, they were going to give me wireframes, and they would give me final content for a website. And we could kind of chop through those in terms of the project. They also understood from me what they could expect from a timeline. They could understand when I chatted with them about a project, any particular challenge and why it might take longer. Sometimes we would find solutions to these challenges if the project had a timeline, a tight timeline, or other times we would accept the fact that this is a challenge and we're going to take a little extra time to figure things out. And this partnership was just insanely satisfying. It was awesome. The clients that we got to work for were ones that my little company probably would never have gotten experience or contacted to work for, because they were a larger agency. So they got some brand names and some regional names to the area, and so it was cool. The other thing they did is as a communications firm is they exposed us to some new ideas. They were trying different things to run their campaigns. Their job was to drive traffic to their clients' websites. So through that, we got a nice education from it. And so anyway, partnership was awesome. It was really, really good. Fast forward, those great years, 6, 7 years, whatever they were. And, as people do at any given agency, there was turnover. They went to new jobs at new agencies and so on. Sometimes we heard from them at the new job, but more importantly, at the current partner, the team changed. And so I was no longer the go to person, because as there's turnover in any kind of partnership, you need to expect that those new people will bring in their own people. They know web developers from their previous jobs. They know people who can help them out with whatever challenge they have, and they like to maintain those relationships. I guess that's why we do professional networking. So why would they work with this guy who, even though he's got a long track record with the agency, they already know what it's like working with their person. And so they're going to bring them in. So we basically saw the work kind of go down, down, down. And that was to be expected. And I think from our side, we could have done a better job of communicating, reaching out to top management, to the people who we still knew or were introduced to, and really put a push into saying, hey, we've got this great track record with your company. We'd like to maintain it, and so on. Obviously, you can't force someone to work with you, but you can definitely ask. And we did a little bit of that. I definitely did some of that. But we probably could have done more. So anyway, the jobs kind of dwindled over time. The other thing that happened that was kind of interesting, and I don't know why it happened, was the quality of jobs also dwindled. So we were still getting some jobs, but it seemed like we were getting the kind of lower clients, the ones with smaller budgets, the ones with who are known to be a little problematic, little demanding, and so on. And maybe that was an okay thing. Maybe we were known within the halls of this agency as the people who could get things done and would get things done. And because of our long relationship with them, we would accept lower budgets sometimes. And I consider myself very good at working with trouble clients, meaning I help them figure out their challenges. When they're being unreasonable, I feel like I'm pretty good at putting them back on a road to reality and helping them figure out whatever their web application is to do, and bringing that back down to a reasonable level. But in general, the clients we were getting just weren't, and the projects we were getting just weren't what they were. And we also, I had knowledge that other projects were going on and other developers were getting those and so on. So yeah, maybe there's a little jealousy, maybe there's a little I don't know, animosity for that. The biggest deal was not the fact that we were getting, smaller projects or even more challenging client projects. I think the biggest deal was the change in how the client wanted to work. These were new people. Again, they didn't have that history with us, and the demands were different. I don't know if they're fair or not. I'm not going to get into bitching about whether or not who was right and who was wrong, though I definitely have my opinions. But instead of getting final designs and content architecture documents and stuff like that, we were getting you know designs that had not been approved by the end client. We were being asked to build those out and then make changes to them, and then of course those changes were required to be done quickly. And these project, one in particular, was just starting to consume huge amounts of time. So you start to look at the partnership as a whole, and you're like, okay, well, things have definitely changed. But as a business owner, this is where things get scary, because you're looking at this client and they were a large source of your revenue for many years. And though the revenue has dropped significantly, in your mind, you're like, I can't let them go. I've got to make this work. I've got to do everything they ask, because it's going to hurt me financially to not work with them. And so you hold on to it, and it's an emotional hold because it's not a logical hold. In this particular case, this client was taking up all my time. I was falling behind on other clients who are, generally happy with the work we're doing. I was making them unhappy clients because I was so focused on their work. I was working on projects during the day. Our overseas team was working on them at night, and then they weren't happy with it. Because they just had another round of changes and we weren't getting them done fast enough. And I just kept thinking to myself, hey, one more round, one more round, one more round. But there was a never ending cycle of this. And I should have just let these folks go and been like, you know what, this isn't for us, and so on. But when you hold on to that fear of what it's going to do to your business, it becomes an emotional decision not to let them go. And meanwhile, you're hurting the other part of your business, the bigger part of your business. And that's not a good thing. I should have let these guys go sooner in order to protect my business. And so I think that's what I am talking about today, is knowing when it's time to cut a client like this. It's time to cut a client before they're hurting your business. It's time to cut a client before they're making you delay it on other happy clients. It's time to cut this client when you realize that your gut is saying, this isn't what it used to be. Something changed. Maybe the people changed. Maybe the atmosphere changed. Maybe the projects changed, whatever it may be. But as a small business owner and a web developer, you've got to listen to your gut at times, and you've got to know when the writing is on the wall. So as I look back at this, I think about, the lessons learned, and I've never been good at this. This is the hard part, right? I consider myself a good web developer, but am I a good business person? Not as much. And I think I need to learn to recognize these things faster, and I need to act on them faster. I need to listen to my gut, and I need to read the financial sheets and act upon them, not just hope they will get better. So, anyway, if you are a web developer with a small business, I would encourage you to continuously evaluate your client relationships. Figure out the ones that are really good and work to keep them really good. Figure out the ones that are just okay and work to make them better, and figure out the ones that aren't that great. And you know what? Maybe let them go, especially if they are taking your time and you are sacrificing your happy clients for your not so happy clients, or the ones that won't pay off in the end, the ones that won't be here in 5 years to maintain your business. It's the long term clients that are going to keep you in business. The one offs are tough. No, I know some web developers just do one build, one build, one build. And I'm not getting into the feast and famine of that kind of small business. But assuming that you build a relationship with a client and it's not just a one off build, I think you've got to be looking several years down the line. And as cold as it sounds, you have to say, what is this client worth to me? Are they going to spread my name? Are they going to pay large invoices regularly or even small invoices regularly? Are they complainers? Do they make me do everything twice? Do they expect too much from me? Or do they work in a way that I don't want to work? Meaning it's hard to work for them, therefore it takes twice as long, twice as many resources, and so on. So, anyway, I think there's a lot of lessons in here for me and for anyone else running any kind of small business, but especially one where you are providing a skill for time. And you've got to be very careful of who's taking that time and ensuring you're able to build the maximum of it, because that's how you're going to maintain your business.